On Sunday, April 15th, 2018, we have attended the annual Hunter Valley Steamfest in Maitland, New South Wales. Today is the annual Great Train Race, and this year, 6029 and 3642 took part of the race. Winds were very strong that day after some thunder and rain from the previous night. Thankfully it happened after the festival was over. 6029 is seen here pulling into the station first to collect passengers. This was the first time 6029 was seen in active service since the liquidation crisis of the ACT division of the Australian Railway Historical Society in 2016. 4201 will be leading the train as far as Broadmeadow. (4201) is one of the New South Wales Government Railways 42 class diesel locomotives. It was built by Klein Engineering in 1955 and then was withdrawn from service in 1979 for an overhaul. The 42 class diesel then came back in 1980 with modifications for noise reduction and was painted in the green and yellow livery to celebrate the 125th anniversary of New South Wales Railways, hence the nameplates on its sides. Sadly, it was then withdrawn from service in 1983, 3 years after its overhaul, after 2 failures. It was then later acquired by New South Wales Rail Museum. It ran tours while it was in preservation until it retired, and then went through an extensive restoration job by a dedicated team of volunteers. 4201 then returned to service in 2017. While we await the 3642 to depart from the yards, we see 4 Pacific National diesels hauling a goods train through the station. Next we see 2 Hunter cars leaving for Newcastle Interchange, a new station that was opened in October 2017. Finally, we see 3642 entering into the station. We will now hop on board and make our way to Broadmeadow Station to meet up with 6029. We had passed a garret earlier on, and after a small break, 3642 now departs Broadmeadow Station to meet up with 6029 for the race. Usually the steam engines versus a Tiger Moth biplane, a tradition that had always been part of the festival since its inception in 1986. Sadly, due to the strong winds, the plane was grounded, and 3642 and 6029 were the only two racing. Let's now take a look at the garret in action. 6029 was declared the winner after passing the finishing line at East Maitland Station. We now return to Maitland, and 6029 is seen here getting ready for a shuttle trip to Branxton. Meanwhile, 3642 is seen here, awaiting departure for a shuttle trip to Paterson. As 6029 is still awaiting its departure, we now see 3642 leaving for Paterson. Meanwhile, 621 and 721 are seen pulling in to Maitland Station after a trip to Mount Thorley. .6029 now makes its way to Branxton. Later, 4490 is seen pulling the train with 3642 in tow after its run to Paterson. After passengers disembark the train, 4490 and 3642 are now ready to take the Port Waratah Coal Run, a popular train during Steamfest that runs from Maitland to Broadmeadow and back. Then later, we see 6029 returning to Maitland after its trip to Branxton. Unfortunately, due to a technical issue, 6029 didn't run the next two services to Branxton and was replaced with diesel locomotive 4001 instead. This is where we conclude the Hunter Valley Steamfest for 2018. It's Sunday, May 20th, 2018, and the New South Wales Rail Museum were hosting their second Day Out with Thomas event. At Currajard, 2705, dressed as Donald, is seen passing the station as it makes its way to Buxton with one of its booked-out shuttle trains. At Buxton, Donald pulls into the station, and Diesel Loco 4807 will then lead the train back to Thelmere. We now arrive at Thelmere, and as we wait for Donald to depart, CPH number 18 as Toby departs the goods station, with passengers heading towards the roundhouse and back. Donald now departs Thelmere Station. While Donald takes its passengers to Buxton, we see 3642 dressed as Henry. This will be the last time we see the 36 class dressed as Henry, as on July 1st it will make its last run to Mossvale before it will go into the museum workshops for a restoration. We will cover that trip in our August edition. We later see Donald at Thelmere again, and will start taking on water before its next trip. Of course, it's not a Thomas Day without the blue tank engine itself. Later, Donald is now seen backing onto its train. As we wait for its departure, Toby is seen coming backwards and forth from the goods station to the roundhouse. We now conclude the day with Donald now departing for Buxton. Sunday, May 26, 2018, saw privately owned Loco 6029 taking a New South Wales Rail Museum tour train to Mount Victoria in the Blue Mountains, celebrating the 150th anniversary of the Great Western Railway heading to Mount Victoria. Our Great Western Railway should not be mistaken to the one in the UK. The Loco and its train are seen passing through Lapston. This is the first time the Garrett Loco was seen in the mountains since it last steamed in 1981. We caught up with the Loco at Falconbridge. Next, we see it at Woodford. We also have shots of the Garrett running alongside us on the Great Western Highway. The train had reached Mount Victoria, and we now see it on its first shuttle journey to Lithgow. We caught up with the locomotive at its destination, Lithgow. It's now time for departure, and diesel locomotive GE112, who was assisting the train, will now pull the train and loco back to Mount Victoria. We will now conclude this month's edition of Rail Around New South Wales with 6029 pulling out of Mount Victoria with another shuttle train.
Do you need something? No. I was just trying to get
Attention customers on platform number 1. The next service to arrive on platform number 1 will be the 1:18 Sydney service. Just repeating, the next train to arrive on platform number 1 will be the 1:18 Sydney service. Please stand clear of the yellow line. Thank you for your patience.